My name is Bob Devereaux, and I live in Asheville, North Carolina. I met my wife in 1954, I guess it was. She was a brand new registered nurse, and I'd been wandering around after being in the Air Force for a few years. And we hit it off right away. We had some great times together. We lived overseas for a number of years, traveled the world, saw things I never dreamed I would ever see. And she was like a little kid with all of it because she came from a small town outside of Buffalo, a little place called Lockport, New York. Never been anywhere. Every time we moved, it was a new experience for her. She was excited about it. We got married in 1956. We're married for 62 years. Had 5 kids, 12 grandkids, 8 great-grandkids. We had a fantastic marriage, and then the last 7 or 8 years of her life, she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. When my wife first started having these little lapses of memory, I was really naive. I was very ignorant of Alzheimer's. I didn't know anything about that. I thought it was just, we were both getting old and you forget things. It started getting a little worse, and she was very, very cognizant of what was happening, as was I. So we both decided together to go and get an exam. We went to a neurologist, and he did a whole bunch of tests like normally done, and came away with the diagnosis of early onset Alzheimer's. I was still pretty stupid about it. I still thought that if I did certain things, I would help her along the way. For instance, she used to put things in crazy places, like when she was putting away dishes and things like that. They'd go in the refrigerator and all kinds of crazy stuff. So I thought I'd be smart, and I put little stick-em notes on cabinets. And as fast as I put them on there, she'd take them off and say, "Why are you putting these messy things up here?" But she didn't know why they were up there. She had no idea. You realize with this disease that it's a 24/7 thing. You can't just ignore the patient, ever. I mean, you've got to be on your toes all the time. That got hard because I realized that I was dedicating every minute of the day towards her care. I found out about a daycare center arrangement for adult daycare. I signed her up for that, so a couple of days a week she'd go there for about 3 hours a day. It was a refreshing experience for her because she got out of the house, and it was wonderful for me because I could go to the bank or the grocery store or whatever I needed to do. After a couple of months, that started to fail, and I really needed to have home health care. I think I started with 4 hours a day, usually in the morning, to get her started, to get her out of bed and get her going in the day. And then the time came, of course, when I just couldn't do it anymore. And I had to decide whether or not I was going to put her in a facility. And, when you go through this process, there's a million emotions. There's sadness and compassion and anger and guilt, terrible guilt. When I decided to put her in a facility, it was mostly because of the physical aspect of the thing. I just couldn't handle her physically. She was not a little girl. She'd sit down just for no reason other than to just sit down, and I couldn't get her up. We searched around for places, tried a couple. One, she was in a memory care unit, and she only lasted 2 weeks in there. She was too far gone. They wouldn't keep her. Finally, I got her into a skilled nursing facility. And I'll say this right now, smartest thing I ever did. If I'd have tried any longer to keep her at home, I think it would have been disastrous for both of us. I don't think either one of us would have survived that very well. The first time I put her in there, The guilt was awful. First few days, the first week, I'd look in the mirror and say, what have you done, you know? But you get over that. You start recognizing that, okay, this was a good move. She spent 3 years in that nursing facility, well cared for, always happy. I went to visit her every day. She never knew me, but she recognized that I was somebody special, because every time I'd walk in a room to see her, she'd light up, great big smile. I learned a lot about the disease, that's for sure. I'm certainly no expert, but I learned a lot about myself, about my own capabilities, what I could manage and what I couldn't manage. I learned that I'm more emotional than I thought I was. I learned that there are people out there who can help you. And one of the things that I started to go to was a support group meeting on a regular basis. It was a group of people like me who had loved ones that had Alzheimer's in various stages. I was encouraged to do that by a friend, and I didn't want to do it because I couldn't imagine, you know, just bearing my soul to all these strangers and telling them about what went on last night at 2 o'clock in the morning. But after a couple of times, I realized how good it was. It was good for me because there were other people, not just like me, but people who were having a worse time than I was. And that really made me, you know, get down to basics and understand that, okay, you know, I can live through this. I can make this happen. There were so many things that I did wrong, and a couple of things I think I did right. It was a great 62 years, believe me. It was wonderful. I'd do it all over again.